Hey, it's Brian Anderson from Annuity Straight Talk, and in this video we're going to look at how index annuities work, but from a different perspective. By achieving a safe, decent yield, you'll see exactly how a flexible retirement strategy can give you the best opportunity for long-term success. This will give you a chance to see how annuities can play a pivotal role in alleviating some of the biggest retirement concerns without locking you into lifelong contracts and bleeding your principal dry with fees. You see, most people who don't like annuities, they only say so because they're selling something else. Those types of advisors typically come from an asset management background, and they're likely to tell you just to adjust the mix of stocks and bonds. Their advice is typically to assume a strategy of systematic withdrawals, and in the long run you'll be fine. But you and I both know there's just too much uncertainty in that approach. Do you really want to gamble with your retirement? Then there's the insurance-based product-first approach. The people who show you a product first, they peel it open kind of like a Swiss Army knife, showing you all the ways it solves common retirement concerns. Whether or not those are your concerns is a different story. These product pushers tell you to sell some stocks just to fund an annuity that guarantees an income for life, but the cost is typically so high that it defies common sense to make that big a commitment. You're essentially overpaying for insurance in that case. The problem with both of these approaches, whether asset management or insurance-based, is they result in overcommitting you one way or another, with either too much risk or too much safety. Said another way, if you're heavy on securities, then you don't have the optimal amount of safety. And if you have too much in the annuity, you limit your opportunity for overall growth. Instead, my philosophy is to take an education-based approach because I think you need to be able to make the decision for yourself. Simply because your situation is unlike other, no one knows it better than you. So what benefits do you need most? Can an annuity give you that assurance? Are there other options that are more appealing? And how does an annuity fit into your overall asset allocation plan? If you use an annuity properly, does it replace other holdings like safe bonds and enhance your portfolio? Like I said, look at the annuity as one of the many asset allocation options, with your goal of being to allocate your retirement funds correctly so that you are adequately protected with solid sources of retirement income that can't be negatively affected by market volatility. Quite simply, what I do for people is to help them choose an annuity as part of a portfolio allocation process and size the annuity properly and choose a contract that accomplishes those specific goals. It's actually a simple process, but when we do it right, the annuity plays a pivotal role. Quite simply, an annuity can enhance an overall portfolio in ways traditional asset managers can't touch. Is your money manager going to guarantee you he's going to never lose money? Is your bond manager going to hedge against interest rate risk? There's no chance in the world. So let's take a second look at Don and Beth, who came to me initially looking at an income annuity. Like many others, they were shown an expensive contract that over-allocated them to restrictive lifetime income. Luckily, they found me while they were seeking a second opinion.
I'd like to show you an example of another couple who used annuities in a very conservative asset management strategy or asset allocation strategy that allowed them to make changes to their retirement in the future only as their needs changed. So Don and Beth were approaching 60 years old a couple years ago. They had saved well and paid off all major debt. They were planning to retire at the age of 64, but delay Social Security payments until they could collect the maximum benefit at age 70. So for the first 6 years of retirement, they needed to withdraw more from their portfolio than they would after that, since Social Security would significantly offset their withdrawal needs. This is a common scenario. A lot of people, if you want to retire in your mid to late 50s or in your early 60s at max Social Security, a lot of people come in with big income needs up front and less as time goes by. Okay. Don and Beth saw an ad on TV for a nationally recognized annuity expert who had been aggressively marketing to people like you on all the major news networks. Okay, they made the call, set up an appointment, went through the planning process, and received a proposal that would require them to place 60% of their assets into a competitive index annuity with a guaranteed income rider in order to cover their projected income gap in 4 years. Okay. Simple solution, really. It's pretty common, and that's what you see, and it's what makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. Okay. Two major problems with this. That is a substantial commitment. 60% is far too much. That leaves you very unbalanced with very few options. So it's a short-term fix, but it's overfunded past the age of 70, okay? So spending more than necessary and having someone consider themselves an expert recommend you do that is extremely reckless, okay? A significant portion of their nest egg, just to solve that 5-6 year gap, is that's ridiculous. But I guess he's got to pay for the advertising somehow, and that's really true. If you have a high cost model to your business, then you got to put a lot of pressure to make sales. Okay. So Don and Beth had been so indoctrinated by the annuity industry that they thought annuities could only be purchased with a lifetime commitment, and that associated fees were just kind of a matter of fact. Okay. After a little re-education that debunked the myth of lifetime commitments and mandatory fees, I can't believe that it's out there, but it is. Sadly, here's what we did. They had recently changed their allocation of their portfolio to a 50-50 mix of stocks and bonds. Pretty standard to pare back on the risk when you're within a few years of retirement. So I showed them an index annuity with a short surrender schedule, 7-year commitment. Again, I say that's what I like, and that's a lot of times we're in that ballpark. No fees, no lifetime commitment. It is purely focused on growth and flexibility. Okay. We compared the annuity of the bond fund inside their 401k so they could see ways to at least diversify maybe their safe assets. It goes back to low interest rates and volatile pricing on bonds and stuff. So they settled on 35% annuity, 15% bonds, and 50% stocks. This is what it was able to do for them. They put just enough in the annuity so that the free withdrawal allowance would cover their income needs for the first few years of retirement. Okay, their plan is to draw from the annuity if their stock accounts are down in value, but sell off stocks in years when their performance is good. Okay, they want to rebalance, capture some gains, and further solidify their basis. If they never sell stocks, the free withdrawal allowance from the annuity will be enough to cover their income gap until the age of 70. Okay. So they don't ever need to sell stocks if they don't want to. What happens at age 70? Well, at that point, they're going to start taking Social Security. The resulting decrease in their required withdrawal amount is going to give them the opportunity to completely rebalance their entire portfolio at exactly the right time their needs change. So they're also going to need to take required minimum distributions. Okay, this is a different problem. It requires a different strategy. They wanted to have their funds flexible in time to change, make the changes they know are coming, but don't know how they're going to want to deal with it. Okay. In that situation, you do not want to be left with a plan that was created 10 years ago. Okay. Their needs today are different than their needs are going to be in 10 years. We can't predict what their needs will be specifically because it's going to depend on a lot of different factors. Okay. So we need to be able to change the plan. You've got to set up so you can make that change. All right. This is simply a strategy for maximum flexibility for the guaranteed changes that are going to come in life.
Don and Beth were extremely happy to avoid such a substantial commitment, knowing they now had a strategy that cost them much less and covered the initial income gap. By listening to their needs and using the annuity properly in allocating their assets, we crafted a plan to leave a greater amount of assets growing in the market for enhanced overall wealth throughout retirement. Did they have to use an annuity? No, they didn't. But when they considered the low rates in the bond market, they decided to go with a vehicle that would not be subject to interest rate risk, further insulating them from volatility. The principal amount is guaranteed and performance potential more than enough to expect a reasonable return in their annuity purchase. This isn't rocket science. We actually make it much easier than most people expect. Protect the assets that you need to use. Don't spend more money than you need on income, and use the right approach that will not leave you exposed to longevity risk. In this way, all forms of volatility are eliminated so you're not exposed to serious risk. It simply takes the proper allocation of assets and a unique look at what annuities were made to do. I don't care what anyone else says. Annuities are the only product that can position you to take care of it all at once. So if you're worried that someone is asking you to overcommit any portion of your portfolio, I urge you to give me a call, and I'll give you the most efficient approach to keep your money safe, maintain flexibility, and generate income and optimize your assets for the long haul. To schedule the call, just click the button on this page and let me know when you'd like to have that first meeting. Thank you so much for taking this important step to educate yourself. I look forward to speaking with you soon.